Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, sisters and brothers. It's your brother Kevin Muhammad, the Watchman on the West Coast, bringing you that information about the Abraham Covenant, the only game in town that should be preached today, brothers and sisters. The only thing that should be on every minister, every preacher, every man that's supposed to be representing God should be talking about the Abraham covenant. Why, Muhammad? Why should they be talking about this? It's because the Abraham covenant is explaining in itself that we would be in a land that's not ours and served and afflicted for 400 years. And now that we are at the end of that 400 years, it's time for the reward. It's time for our birthright. And it's time for us to receive the thorough knowledge that we supposed to receive from the messenger of the covenant and then be taken home. A brother with the last name of Muhammad asked a question on Facebook. A brother James Muhammad. Brother James Muhammad asked the question, where is the promised land? Where is the promised land? And then the answer from a brother who had not the name Muhammad, he had answered that he didn't know, but the 40 acres and a mule that was supposed to be given to us, he assumed that would be the promised land. The 40 acres that they promised at our sojourn of enslavement here in the North American wilderness, he assumed that that was the promised land, brothers and sisters. And then another brother with the name Muhammad. This brother had the name Muhammad. He said, wherever we want it to be, starting with my home. Starting with your home, brother. That's the promised land to you. In the hells and wilderness of North America, we can't make a nightmare into a dream, brothers. We can't make a nightmare into a dream. The so-called American dream is a damn nightmare for us. It's been for the last 464 going on 65 years, brother. We went through the Holocaust, the worst treatment known to anyone that was ever in the condition of first a prisoner of war and then labeled after the release date of the prison into slavery to work night and day, to be brutalized and raped and murdered. No, this ain't no promise. This ain't no promised land for us, brothers. Someone has been misinformed you. And then another brother, a Michael Muhammad. He said, in our minds, once we begin to commit the supreme wisdom lesson number one, to memory, what lays the base for our work today. Brother, y'all been misinformed. And we're going to get to the misinformer in a minute. We're going to get to the one that is not allowing y'all to know the simplest thing that every Muslim should know. The most simplest thing that every Muslim should know, brother. Master Fard Muhammad came 1930, July the 4th, on the independent day of the Chaldeans, to tell us that we had 91 more days of our 91 more years of our prison sentence. 91 more years. And he raised 60,000 followers. He raised the Nation of Islam. That's his baby. But he had to go and prepare for he had work to do. And he had to go and prepare for it, brothers and sisters. So after the end of the 91 years, the enemy will be destroyed. And the land that we were held captives in will come under judgment. Will come under judgment. So know the supreme wisdom and lessons were given to Elijah to raise us above the gravitational vortex of our enemy. The supreme wisdom was to reload our software. That way, once it is deposited into our brain, and then we was able, Elijah, who was in charge of the 60,000, made it 59,999 followers that followed and helped Elijah, the Levite tribe. To accumulate all our nickels and dimes and create a nation within a nation. We were up out of slavery, brothers and sisters. If they so-called freed us in 1864, Master Fard Muhammad come in 1930. That's 56 so odd years, brother, out of slavery. And he come to let us know and raise those Levites, the priest tribes, that we may show, so we can be an example of what we would do when we get to the promised land. So he made a nation within the nation. Elijah took those nickels and dimes and pennies and created a bank, a barbershop, a market, a food shop, brought ships, went and got that whiting fishes in the tons, brothers and sisters. Laundromats, cleaners, housing, temples, so we can come and receive that supreme wisdom, so we can raise above our enemy just enough to create a community where we didn't have to go outside of that community. We worked, we had our jobs there. We had a bank. If we need a loan, we went to the bank of Muhammad's bank and got a loan to buy a car from Muhammad's car lot. Needed your clothes cleaned, you went to Muhammad's cleaner. When you need some food, you went to your supermarket, brothers and sisters. We the young evidently don't know about Elijah. We ain't never seen a nation in action. We have not seen a nation in action. This is what Elijah and the Levites did for 42 years. And they were supposed to, the Levites, the priest tribe, was to preach and prepare a way for the messenger of the covenant, who would suddenly appear at Elijah's temples. What was the messenger there to appear for? Why was he there? He was to let us know, because Elijah said we could not return home to the promised land without a thorough knowledge of self. And the messenger of the covenant did that which no man on the planet could do, that distinguished him from every man on the planet. The Levites and Elijah included. Elijah did not give us a thorough knowledge of self. He said there will be one who would give you that knowledge. If Elijah had it to give, he would have gave it to you. But he was left with the supreme wisdom to rise you above your captive, the enemy here, the Chaldean. Let's get back to what that other brother, the last Muslim with the Muhammad name, Vincent Muhammad. What was the question? Where is the promised land? Well, brother Vincent Muhammad, after the brother Todd Muhammad and brother Michael Muhammad gave their version of the promised land, brother Vincent Muhammad said, under our feet. Well, we're prisoners still in the North American wilderness, brother, so we ain't in no damn promised land in America. We ain't in no promised land in America. But what has happened after the 42 years of Elijah showing us the way, every Savor Day meeting, Elijah, minister of secretary, will get up on the podium, and he would tell not how much money that was taken from you. He would tell the accomplishments of what the nation was doing. The real NOI, brothers and sisters. He was telling about how many tons of whiting fish that was received that year. He was telling how many ships one was leaving the United States, and one was leaving where they was getting the fish in Peru. In those waters, struck the deal where they were bringing tons of whiting fish, had farms with black Angus cows on it, brothers and sisters, had farms for vegetables and fruits that was sent to the Yo supermarket. That was the community that Elijah and the Levites provided for the nation of Islam. In that community, the brothers and sisters never had to interact with the Chaldeans. We had a real example of what we was going to be doing after our sojourn in the North American wilderness, and then we will receive a thorough knowledge of self and go home. And then we got the Legion, the man of perdition, the Legion, L-E-G, Louis U. Green, Louis Eugene Grounds. Walcott was not his mother's last name. She was not married. Check the information for yourself. Legion, Louis Eugene Ground. And then Legion, Louis Eugene Ground. And then the nation, not NOI, what Elijah had and the Levites had prepared for us and left Lewis in charge of. He was the spokesman. It wasn't Wallace D, his son. He had got kicked out for teaching Sunniism. He had got kicked out for teaching Sunniism. Louis Eugene Grounds got in and start convincing the Levites with his smooth talk. The enchanter, Louis Eugene Ground, before he came Farrakhan, and got the Levites, those who were still in the mosque, the 59,999 followers of Elijah. He got them to let their guards down. He flipped them. And then he raised himself into the 42 years of his teaching. He raised himself above Master Fard Muhammad and Elijah. How do he do this, Muhammad? You know how he did it. You seen what he said. He first changed the name of the temple to mosque. After him and Wallace came to a conclusion, Wallace told him once he get the money, once he go and get the things in his name, and then he'll get what he deserved. So once Wallace went to court, got everything turned over in his name. Do the research, brothers and sisters. You can see for yourself. They got it there. Google it. Don't believe me. It wasn't no FBI involved at that time. It was Wallace D. Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan was the man in charge, the national spokesman for Elijah. When Elijah left to get the book, when he was taken up on the wheel, who was left in charge? And then he himself used an excuse that he didn't want no fight between him and Wallace like the Messenger and Malcolm. So he said he ran to Phoenix. And then later he said he ended up in Cuba. What did he tell you, brothers and sisters? He ended up in Cuba smoking on those big blunts or Havana stogies. He said this out of his own damn mouth. Pull up the tape. Go into the archives, however you say it, where all the tapes are stored. If you like me, you got probably about 80 or 90, if not 100 tapes of the ministers. Go and see what he said. But he deceived you, brothers and sisters. And now we got brothers in the ranks with the last name Muhammad who don't even know about the promised land, who know nothing of the purpose of Master Fard Muhammad and Elijah. Because of what? Because Louis Farrakhan raised himself above both of them. In the Juma prayer, when he was interviewed, him and Wallace in 2001, 2002, Go search for the tape, brothers and sisters, and hear him denouncing Master Farad Muhammad as God. And denouncing, if he denounced Master Farad Muhammad as God, then he denounced Elijah Muhammad as the messenger of God. And then he raised himself above both of them. Did he not say it on a tape? Look at God, look at me. He raised himself above the God who came for you and told you about your freedom that was coming up in 91 more years, that your journey of the 400 years of the a covenant that God made with Abraham and his seed. He denied all of that. And now we got brothers with the name Muhammad. Don't know where the promised land is. It's under our feet. It's in the supreme wisdom message, in the supreme wisdom when we remember it, memorize it. Come on, brothers and sisters. Come on, brothers and sisters. It's in our home in America. No, brothers and sisters, the promised land is not here in America. The sentence has already been passed. America will be destroyed with fire. And those who misled the people, who took the people astray, will be destroyed with it. The world is ruled by devils and plagued by demons. A demon is not the Hollywood version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's not a damn demon, brothers and sisters. A demon is when cave dweller, Neanderthal, Chaldean go into a black woman. He makes a black face Chaldean, a black face white boy. And that's what Louis Farrakhan is. Go pull it up. Pull up when he interviewed with Gates in the 80s. He said his father was a light-skinned Jamaican, but in reality, he was a Jew who escaped from Hitler's grip and went to Jamaica, where he raped his mother. You know the stories, brothers and sisters, and if you're too young to know, then pull up the tapes. Ask Google when Minister Farrakhan spoke about his mother being raped. And they'll pull up the tape for you, brothers and sisters. We have been deceived. He raised himself above Master Farad Muhammad and the messenger, and then he deceived you. He now needed you to defend him. Not only once, he needed you to defend him, but he came up with book 2 for you to defend him. He lied to you and misguided you and told you that the messenger, the God who came for you, he didn't believe in him and his messenger. How can he believe in the damn messenger? Excuse me. How can he believe in the messenger when he didn't believe in the God who raised the messenger? He became a God besides the God. And now you and are so hooked up into him and defending him, you didn't hear from the messenger of the covenant when he came. He came with the truth, brought it to the nation, and those who in charge rejected it, rejected the truth. And now you don't have a thorough knowledge of yourself. You don't even know about the promised land. You assume that America, the American dream, is your land. You assume, as would ministers say, that legion, that man of perdition, you believe in what he say, that you're going to get 7 states here in a land that's already, judgment has already been passed. You can't take it back. You have been found guilty. And the charge is death, a lake of fire. Now you want 7 states in a lake of damn fire, brothers and sisters? We got the 411 for you. We are the Nation of Islam, not the ION as in the last 3 letters in the word of the Legion. The last 3 letters in the word of Legion is ION, meaning you got flipped. You don't know your right hand from your left hand. You got on them suits. You got that name, Muhammad, and you don't know what it's for. So you have to be re-educated. They ask, can a man rob God? Well, Louis Farrakhan is doing a double dose of robbery. A double dose of robbery, brothers and sisters. How can he do a double dose, Muhammad? How can he double up? He lied to you and deceived you and told you that the God is not God and the messenger of the covenant, the messenger of Allah is not the messenger. Took your money, stuck it in his pocket. You ain't got no bank. You ain't got no community where you can go to your supermarket, your laundromat, your barbershop, your car lot, your job at the Nation of Islam. You ain't got none of that. Do the comparison, brother. It's night and day. Do the comparison, brothers and sisters. It's night and day. Elijah Way, Farrakhan. Elijah's way and Farrakhan's way is not the way of the Nation of Islam. So you need a new teacher, a new Nation of Islam. You need to be retaught, brothers and sisters, and we got that man for you. We got the messenger of the covenant, who not only will give you that which is above supreme wisdom. When he lifted those 7 seals in the 22 chapters of the book of Revelation, he gave you more than that, which will rise you above your present day prison owners, the Chaldeans who had you captive here. He revealed to you that someone has your identity, and that's the false Jews in Palestine. He revealed to us about those who are sitting on our land in Arabia, the false Arabs. Them are people from India who got conquered by Britain and now who's dressed up and calling themselves Muslims and Arab. They're from India. They are on our land, and we coming from that for that land. The promised land is Arabia. They flipped and put another name on it, calling it Saudi Arabia. It's Arabia. When we left 50,000 years ago, we covered it up with sand. So on our return, the nutrients and the topsoil will still yield us the best food for ourselves and our brothers and sisters. We have not rejected. We have not rejected the messenger of the covenant. That's why we are the watchmen, spreading to you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, revealing to you the true demon that sits in Elijah's seat, the modern day Aaron. You need to be retaught, brothers. You need to be retaught so we can go home to our land. I'm Brother Kevin Muhammad on the West Coast, the watchman, watching over Master Farad Muhammad's Levites. Master Farad Muhammad set up temples. Master Farad Muhammad didn't come to teach you Sunniism. Prophet Muhammad is not here. He said, 3 generations after me will not be of me. This is not the time of Prophet Muhammad. This is not the time of Elijah Muhammad. He taught us, he gave us, he paved the way, the fall of America, brothers and sisters. He didn't say the uplifting of America. He didn't say the blessing of America. He said the judgment of America, she will fall. And if you're here in 7 states, America will fall on you. Don't let America fall on you, brothers and sisters. Don't let America fall on you. Contact, make contact. Right here is your contact, brothers and sisters. That's your contact. Right here. I'm Kevin Muhammad. The watchmans.of.war@gmail.com. We are at war, brothers and sisters. We are at war with the demons and with the man of perdition, the Legion, Louis Farrakhan, is blocking the door for you, brothers and sisters. And we are here to move him out the way. But if you can't hear, and then you'll go under the chastisement that's coming to America. And you'll have to go through tribulation. I'm your brother, Kevin Muhammad, on the West Coast, the watchman, watching out for the Levites to get you back online. Where are you at, brothers and sisters? Fall in the ranks. Assalamu alaikum.